Okay, it's late, so I gotta talk quiet. So, in 2014, I was making videos and I was arrested for the charge uttering threats. And fuck, this is a long story. So, I was making videos I was filming, and I made a video that had sound, no visuals. And after I made it, I said, I need to make a video that shows what I'm describing. And I got lazy and said, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And before I could do what I was going to do the next day, visually, the police arrested me. And they put me in jail. And they tortured me and they made me miserable. And basically, they were charging me for uttering threats to burn. And the maximum charge was 20 years. So basically, when I got out of prison, I I basically did a thing where I made they gave me a condition, no videos, so I did pictures. So I made what I was supposed to do originally, and I made a cartoon that's how I started my cartoon series. If it wasn't for that, I never would have made it a cartoon series. So in my cartoon series, I made a cartoon that continued the video that I made before that visually. And long story short, in the end, the charges were dropped with something called a conditional discharge. A conditional discharge. So the charges were dropped, and I was put on probation for 2 years. And after the 2 years passed, that was it. The charges were dropped, but it was very scary, and I was scared. I knew it was gonna work out, but there was a trial. There was everything 2-day trial, and They said, if you plead guilty, we'll drop the charges, and I was like, I'm not pleading guilty. So in the end, they dropped the charges with a conditional discharge. This is what they were going to do anyway without the trial. So my lawyer cared about me. He really cared about me a lot, and he got me a conditional discharge. A conditional discharge is where the charges are dropped. It's a sentencing. You're guilty. You're claimed guilty, but they dropped the charges anyway. So I'm really glad that it worked out. The maximum sentencing was 20 years, 4 counts of uttering threats. I don't need to deduce what it was about, but basically there were 4 counts, and in the end, the charges were dropped. So I'm very grateful, very, very glad that the charges were dropped. It worked out for me, but it was very scary, and it's a good thing that, in the end, it worked out. So that's great. But be careful with what you put on the internet, because the police will use whatever you say or do against you. So if you're going to make creative content, you got to say, this is fiction, this is art, it's entertainment, etc. Because if you don't say those things, they can definitely say it's disturbing or whatever, because that's what happened to me. So in the end, if you're going to make creative content, make sure you say all that legal stuff, because if you watch a movie, in the credits they say this is, entertainment, any real things are any similarities to real events are coincidental, yada yada. They say that so they don't get sued. Or if you watch TV and a program comes on and says this has violence, viewer discretion is advised, they say that so people can't sue them for what their content is. So be careful out there, everyone. Content creators, be careful, because if you screw up, you can get in trouble. So be careful with what you make on the internet.